Your brand matters after somebody knows that you can solve a problem that they may have, and that's buying or selling a property.
That's a golden nugget right there.
From ReminderMedia, this is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business. Hosted by the VP of Marketing, Josh Stake, and ReminderMedia's president, Luke Akery. So get ready to hear the golden nuggets that will allow you to live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today.
Welcome to another episode of Stay Paid. Of course, I'm your host, Joshua Stike, here with Luke Akery.
Yes. I'm your co-host, Luke Akery.
You're the co-host? Are we both co-hosts?
We're like Regis and Kathy Lee.
Hey,
no. What was it? Regis and Kelly.
Regis and Kelly, yeah.
Kathy Lee was before Kelly.
We're not going to talk about Regis and Kelly today, though. We're going to talk about Facebook advertising.
Something that Regis Philman knows nothing about.
So if you are in a professional service, right, and you haven't ran Facebook ads, you've been thinking about running Facebook ads, but it seems too complicated, you don't know what ads to run, we are going to talk about that today. But before I introduce our guest, who is a return guest. That's just a little teaser. I just want to encourage everybody, you can subscribe to Stay Paid on iTunes, Spotify. We're trying to hit the top of the charts. There's a couple ways that really helps that. Number one is the subscription, because then we get the downloads. Number two, leave a comment. So if you like this episode, head on over there. We're going to read a featured review at the end. You can have your review read on the show as well. If you do that, it really helps us out. We really appreciate it. But today we have returning to the studios, Grant Wise. He is the president of Witly, which is a client generation software for real estate agents. They use automated advertising and dynamic video remarketing to increase sales for you. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what he's doing, not only with Witly, but with Facebook advertising in general.
We got
Grant,
the guru of Facebook advertising right now.
Welcome to the podcast, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you, man. So, especially because I've gotten to know you even more. I know we've been involved in events now together and been talking to you, learning more about you, following you and all this stuff. And what I love that you're into, right, is this idea of Facebook advertising, because it is one of the most common requests we get on the podcast here is, how do I enhance my social media? How do I advertise on Facebook? What should I be spending? So I would love for you to just kind of dive right in and maybe start with giving your kind of overview of what you believe a real estate agent, a business should be doing on their social media, specifically Facebook, when it comes to advertising.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack, but I'll dive right into.
You got 30 minutes.
I'll dive right into the exact strategy. So, what we help people do at its core, we help people generate leads, build a brand, and convert more customers. And so, thinking of that in three different tiers, that's really kind of the core of our ad strategy as well. First thing we want to help people do is generate more leads. Second thing we want to help people do is build a brand. So we're huge proponents of video remarketing, and I'll dive into that in a second. And then the third thing we want to help agents do is convert more customers, which means using ads that have good calls to action, whether that's through Messenger or an appointment type campaign or whatever that might look like. So number one, generate leads. How do we do that? The number one most successful way I've ever seen to generate leads in any market and in any country is by using homes to attract prospects. This is very simple strategy. Yep. I know it sounds a little maybe even too simple, but if you look at a company like Zillow, who has come in and dominated the industry on the agent side, all they ever did was took listings and marketed to potential homeowners. And then once those people opted in, they sold the leads back to the realtor. Well, what we can learn from that is that if you give people what they want, not what they need, you can create a lot more attention for your business and your brand. And so if we put out a list of properties, available in the marketplace, say it's under $250,000, and just literally say, click here to get a free list of properties available in the market under $250,000. That's all your ad has to say, even, and use 3 to 4 images of homes available. What'll happen is you'll start getting people to opt in within literally 24 hours. You'll start getting names, emails, and phone numbers, people that you can actually start to communicate with, just like that. So putting out a property list is a great strategy. Marketing a single listing, those two ads have outperformed anything we've ever done for generating both buyer and seller leads.
Well, jump back for just a second, Grant. You say giving people what they want, not what they need. What do you mean?
This is a huge mistake that agents make constantly, is that they go out and they like, look at me. Here's my business card with my picture on it. Here's my yard sign with my picture on it. Here's my billboard with my picture on it. Here's my Facebook ad with my picture on it. And they go out there and they market themselves. And that's the first interaction that a prospect has. The only problem is that that person doesn't understand why they need that pretty face on a sign or a business card or whatever it is. There's a great book. Maybe both of you have read it. It's Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I highly recommend. It's like a $900 book on advertising. But one of the biggest takeaways I got from that is that ultimately, the only thing that we can ever do is leverage desire or necessity in marketing. So if we're advertising a business, how do we lean into that? How do we market based on what somebody's desiring? Well, I can tell you without question, anytime I've ever thought about buying a property, I did not say, I got to talk to a realtor. I said, I got to go look at the property.
Yeah.
And then I found out if I wanted to look at the property, I needed a realtor, right? And so I think that there's this big misconception that just marketing your brand is going to solve all problems. If I am not in what we call the home aware phase, where I mentally am thinking about property and any of those types of things, like your brand it's just not going to make any sense. If that's the first interaction I'm having is seeing your face, you lost me.
Gotcha.
Like, because I'm going to go to Zillow, who's giving me what I actually want, which is properties to view. And I think that's a very important thing. Your brand matters after somebody knows that you can solve a problem that they may have, and that's buying or selling a property.
That's a golden nugget right there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So your two ads that you have seen massive success for lead generation is a list of properties. So name the price, 200,000 and under, and people submit. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and just a pro tip there, if you're wondering, like, how do I know which price point to market? Go to the MLS, do some research, median price point of homes sold in the last 90 days. That will tell you where all the turnover in the market's happening. It's going to tell you where most of the properties are being sold. That's the number you use in your Facebook ad. Yeah, so awesome. If it's 250, if it's 500, if it's $1.2 million, like, it doesn't matter. If you go to the median price point of homes sold in the market, anywhere in the world, that number is what makes this a science. That's how you can generate leads in any market, no matter what.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So you start generating the leads. How much should I spend? Right. So that's a common question we get. What do you see kind of spend wise? Yeah. Obviously, the generic answer is as much as possible if it's producing results. But
I would argue against as much as possible until you know a couple of things, really important things. So anytime we're working with somebody, we advise that they start at $300 a month. I mean, just anybody. So that allows us to break down basically $10 a day. Now, in my answers a few minutes ago, I said we do this in 3 levels: level 1, 2, 3, leads, brand, conversion. Level 1, when we're doing lead generation, let's say we're spending $10 a day, we want to spend 60% of that budget on generating new leads. We want to spend 30% of that budget on building a relationship with those leads. And we want to spend 10% of that budget on converting those leads. And so no matter what your budget is, that's going to be our general answer. If you're wanting to spend $10,000 a month, $6,000 towards lead gen, $3,000 towards branding, $1,000 towards conversion. And that has been an incredible formula for us for several years now. And it doesn't matter where you are. Now, do we want to spend as much as possible? Absolutely. But not until we understand the secret number, which is our cost per closing. And this is something that people don't ever pay attention to, which is baffling to me. You can go, guys, we could literally lock arms and go to any conference in the country that's real estate related, and we can walk around the room and ask agents what their cost per closing is. None of them will know the answer. I don't know. My cost per lead's $5. Okay, what's your cost per closing?
It's so true.
I got no clue. Point. So you should not, absolutely, under any circumstances, spend as much as possible if you don't understand how much money you need to put into a machine and then how much money you're going to pull out of it.
Can I ask you to break those down? Real
What's
quick,
that?
can you break down an example of 60% lead gen, 30% branding, 10% conversion? I don't want to jump ahead. Maybe this is where you were going, but what's an example of lead gen versus branding versus conversion?
That's great. So when we're talking about lead gen, we talk about property list and maybe home value ads or whatever it is that you might be running. When we talk about branding, your brand is a relationship you have with the marketplace. And I don't have to tell you guys this, you're experts at it. When we are helping an agent build a brand, what we're trying to do is essentially help them build a relationship with the leads that they have generated. Whether those leads come from Facebook or Zillow or any other third-party source, we need to instantly start building a relationship and connecting with those prospects. Now, the text message isn't working as well. The emails aren't working as well. The calls aren't working as well right now because there are, on average 9 agents per lead generated. Everybody's getting access to that information.
Yeah.
So how can we instantaneously put ourselves in front of the prospects without calling, texting, or emailing? We call this dynamic video remarketing. So if you've ever gone to Amazon, for example, to buy a product and you decided not to, you went right back to social media and then boom, that thing is right there on your phone. It's right there just waiting for you to come on back and hit the purchase button, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about, but with your brand, with your business. That's where the pretty face is super important because now the person knows they have a problem. They need a realtor to help them purchase a property, but they don't know who they're going to let help them do that, right? So if we can create little pieces of video content, 1 minute to 3 minute, why do you do what you do? Educational content, social proof, testimonials, community content. If we can immediately, as soon as that lead comes in, start following our prospects all over the internet with video content, relationship-based content, that's what's going to allow us to create a connection, to build a relationship, to build a brand in the market that increases our conversion by crazy margins. So when we're talking about branding, 60% going to lead gen, that's a homes list campaign, a listing campaign. And then when we talk about branding, we want 30% of our money to go towards video marketing, video remarketing more specifically. Now that's, you break that down, if it's $10 a day, that's $3 per day, that's $90 per month going towards video content targeted to leads that you've generated. That's how you're going to build a relationship on autopilot at scale with as many leads as you could possibly bring into your system without calling, texting, emailing any of those people.
So then how do you spend 10% on conversion?
Great question. A conversion ad, Facebook allows us to track how much of these videos people are watching, right? So if it's 3 seconds or if it's 30% or whatever, we can set little, call them ad triggers. As soon as somebody watches 25% of this video, I want them to see this other ad. And so in our systems, what that looks like is if one of the prospects watches 25% of your why do I sell real estate video, we want a trigger to set so that the next time they come back to Facebook, they're going to see an ad that says, hey, I saw you've been watching some of our videos. Love to talk about buying or selling a home. Click the schedule button or click the learn more button right now. And let's schedule some time to chat for just a few minutes about how we can help you buy or sell.
So the conversion is the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we call a call to action campaign. Your conversion can be a messenger, objective where they, direct message you. It can be to book an appointment. It can be to whatever it is that you want. The highest and best use of our time is just getting that direct appointment booked. So what we do, we have people that'll generate leads, then they've got the video remarketing working, and then they've got those appointments being booked. And we see a successful appointment booking rate is like 10 to 15% of leads generated. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. If we get 100 leads coming in a month, we should see at least 10 to 15% of those turn into appointments.
I'm curious just to follow that thought through, and then I want to jump back to the branding. But out of the 10 to 15, how many do you find that an agent, obviously there's skill level of closing, but how many do you find an agent closing?
That is going to be heavily dependent upon the agent. This is a cop-out answer, but what we know statistically, after tens of thousands of appointments booked, 50% of those are not going to show up.
Okay.
And then you take it back to the agent's conversion rate. So if I'm converting 70 to 90% of my appointments, that means that if I'm getting, let's say 100 leads equals 10 appointments equals 5 are going to show, I mean, I've got 1 to 3 prospects that are locks on those numbers that
in one
listings or buyers.
One close pays for the whole month easily. One close.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So
and this
that's
is
great,
where
great
it's
numbers.
Like sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just saying those are great numbers.
You can cut Luke off. I do it all the time.
Yeah, cut me off all you want.
And this is where the video remarketing helps so much, is because we're not manually calling, texting, emailing anybody. We're just letting that video content work. And that should literally double or triple your conversion. I was interviewing Joshua Smith recently, and we were talking about Facebook leads. And he said when they started implementing video remarketing into their business, they went from converting right around 1% to converting 2.42 or 48%. That's 142% increase in their conversion rates just by implementing video remarketing. And those are phenomenal stats. They're not uncommon. We see that with a lot of our clients. They're typically converting around 1%. And we try to get them to that 3 to 5% conversion rate, because in this industry, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that they're adding to their business by 1%, 2% increases in conversion.
Well, the beautiful part, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just making this assumption based off of what we've run and what I know about Facebook, but that top of funnel, like that original lead gen ad with the homes and the under a certain price point, that's your top of funnel. The nice thing about that is it's such a wider net for a lower cost, right? You can reach a lot more people for a lot less. Video then is an extremely cheap way to reach people. I mean, you can get video views for less than pennies sometimes, right? Getting them to watch enough of your video is almost up to you at that point. You've got to be engaging enough. You have to have the creative idea to get them. And then that middle of funnel, maybe it's a bottom of funnel in this scenario from an appointment standpoint, I would still kind of consider that middle of funnel. It's the permission to meet is usually the most expensive. So you've got it set up now where you can spend the least of your budget on potentially the most expensive aspect, where you're starting with a wide net up top and then filtering them down to that decision.
Yeah, that's a great analysis. And I mean, you're spending money on a tiny portion of your audience. And this is totally contrary to billboard ads or any of those things where you're spending a ton of money just to try to get attention at all. Your Facebook, think of it like this. Let's say you can market to 10,000 people and you end up generating 100 leads. Well, your audience to get an appointment is those 100 people that have already raised their hand and said, I'm interested.
Yeah, don't spend money on the other.
Working with you, right? We're not trying to go the other way where we're spending the bulk of our budget on those 10,000 people trying to get an appointment. And so it's like I could try to spend $100,000 a day. Facebook's system isn't designed that way. It would never let me spend even a fraction of that money to those 100 people because it's limited on how many times it's going to show that same ad to that subgroup of audience that we've built for ourselves.
So talk a little bit then about the branding, right? So the examples for lead generation were a list of houses or listings, right? I love that. I've seen success with that as well. So the branding videos, what are some of the ideas that someone would shoot from a branding standpoint?
Well, there's 4 categories of content that we recommend. So we recommend, without question, a piece of video content remarketed to a lead. Now, the lead could come from any source, and you can target leads from any source. But we recommend a 1 minute to 3 minute video in one of 4 categories. So the first category is kind of the personality type stuff. Why do you sell houses? Behind the scenes of you actually doing business as a realtor, those types of personal things. And then you've got the second category, which I think is one of the most predominant, is educational. If you break down the buying process or the selling process, you literally have half a year of content ideas, and you can create a 1 to 3 minute video about each part of the process. Educational content is huge, and it allows you to display your authority to the market. It allows you to almost effortlessly show people how much you know about buying or selling a property, just simply creating videos about the process. And those videos also come in handy in a multitude of other ways. If you've ever answered the same question twice, which is something that's a pet peeve of mine about, the process of doing something, it's kind of boring and mundane. And at a certain point, you're like, I've answered this question 50,000 times and I don't want to answer it again. So you create a video about it. It's a great way to remove yourself from having to repeat yourself. But educational content's huge. Social proof. What's the number one thing we go look for when we discover new products?
Right.
It's other people's experiences. And so if you don't think that getting people to share their experience about the largest investment of their life is going to be crucial, you are sadly mistaken. If you can share as much as possible of the experiences that others have had working with you, those stories will be your best pieces of branding content. And then lastly, content around community. Real estate agents are thought to be these local community influencers, the keys to everybody, the people that are the most connected and most integrated in every market. And so you're doing yourself a massive disservice if you don't lean into that. Interviewing local businesses, interviewing local nonprofits, interviewing local authority figures, political leaders. I mean, if you can tap into the network of your community and create content about those people, not only are you going to win some friends, like some influential friends, but you're going to show the people in your community, the prospects that you're trying to work with, just how connected you are and just how much influence you have. And I think it's another one of the most important categories. So if you can create a 1 to 3 minute video with any of those categories, a mixture of that, and you can let people see that constantly, I think it's the number one way that you can win from a branding standpoint, in my opinion.
Dude, that's so good. No, it's so spot on. And you not only can use it in retargeting, you can use it on your Instagram, you can use it on your Facebook, you can use it as pure content.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love that.
Do you recommend, this is just personally curious, like the lead forms on Facebook, or do you recommend taking to a landing page and collect a lead, or do you not care?
I recommend the lead form. Facebook came out with that product like 3-4 years ago. It wasn't a very good product for like a year, and then they got it dialed in, and it totally outperforms landing pages. And I think another pro tip here is understanding that Facebook is going to give you what you pay them for, if that makes sense. And so like in the ads manager, there's over a dozen objectives: lead form, video view, reach, impressions, all those types of things. They're going to give you what you pay them to give you. So if you say, hey, Facebook, I want you to give me a bunch of page views or landing page views or clicks, they're going to give you clicks and page views. They're going to send as much traffic to that page as they possibly can. My problem is it's going to be very bad traffic. It's not going to convert. Whereas if you say, I want leads, they're going to give you leads for the lowest
won't
possible
get as much
dollar
traffic.
amount.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if you do send traffic back to a website, never, ever select page view or clicks. I mean, it's just literally horrible traffic. They're just trying to get people to click so they can charge you per click or page view.
No, I was just curious because, I mean, the benefit of it is, number one, it keeps people on Facebook, which is what Facebook wants. So we've seen some benefit there.
Yeah.
It reduces friction in the lead capture process because Facebook already has your info. You don't have to go to a landing page where that landing page doesn't know who you are. And then you also don't have to have a website that can capture leads.
It's so much easier.
And it's gotten so much better now. Like leads, or Facebook has a lead center now in Facebook that you can use, and you can also connect it to your CRM. So I was curious if you were seeing similar results when running the ads for real estate.
Yeah, 1,000%, without question.
So tell us a little bit about, because I'm really curious even for myself. I know you guys have a big thing rolling out, because I think the biggest thing that we see is, people, they want to do this stuff, but they really, really struggle to execute on it. And I know you have something rolling out here. I'd love for you to share it with the audience.
Yeah, so we just released our new automated advertising technology, and everything that I just described to you, our software does it. So if somebody has a lot of technical troubles because they're not savvy, they don't. If you've ever been into the ads manager, it's somewhat of a complex system.
It's a pain in the butt, is what it is.
Yeah.
We designed our software to, you basically tell our software what you want it to do, whether it's to generate leads or to help you get more video views or whatever that is. And our software actually goes and builds the ads for you and manages the ads for you. That is, I've had a training company now for almost 8 years teaching agents how to do this. And without question, I could say the number one complaint is like, this is all great, makes us a lot of money, we love it, but I hate doing Facebook ads because it takes so much time and the ad manager's hard and I got to watch all these videos. And we've been working for the last 3.5 years to build Witly to do what it does now. But yes, we just released our automated advertising technology. and our software will actually build and manage the ads for agents so that they don't have to do it.
Yeah,
what does the agent have to do? Do they have to at least produce the video content? Is that like the only thing they have to do is just send the content?
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. So what we did is we took our top converting ads of all time and we pre-programmed them right into the Witly platform. So all you do is you just literally go in, you click add template, the ad previews, it builds right in front of you, and then you change anything that you want to change and hit submit. So we removed all the building steps. You just kind of review it, make sure that's right, and then you hit submit, and then Witly goes and actually builds it right inside of your ads manager for you. And then for the video remarketing, which is probably my favorite part of the platform, is instead of like creating a video, and you do, to answer your question, yes, you still need to create your own video content. It's not something that should be replaced. It's got to be you. If you're wanting to build a relationship in the market, you got to put your face out there. And so instead of uploading that video, say to like Facebook or Instagram or something like that, you would actually upload it right to Witly, and then you would select your target audience, and then Witly would set up that video to target market whoever it is that you selected. And what we did, and this is one of the things I think is, again, the most powerful tool for an agent that's trying to convert more of their leads. We have continued to integrate with a lot of the major CRM platforms out there. And what that means is that literally as leads come into your CRM, if we're connected to Witly, Witly will automatically target market the new leads you're generating with you not having to do anything. You just upload the content, click your CRM audience, and then our software automatically target markets those people for you. If those leads that you generated become past clients and you change that in your CRM, you change them from your new lead list or new lead tag to your past client list, it automatically updates in Witly, and we automatically update those audiences in Facebook. So you don't even have to change anything. The marketing experience goes from conversion content to referral content, and we continuously and in perpetuity help you market to anybody in your database, no matter what phase they are, to help you generate and convert more leads and clients, or to help you generate more referrals from your past clients.
That's freaking awesome. That is fantastic.
So how can someone try that out?
So if I think we probably gave you guys a special link.
Yep.
But if you go to, I think it's either witly.net/stay paid.
Yep.
Or yes. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm a co-host over here. I feel like I'm Regis filming over here, kind of guiding the show.
I'm looking at Jesse. I'm like, you do?
Yeah.
Witly. I'm sorry. Say that again.
So it's witly.net, witly.net/stay paid.
Nice.
If you go there, you get a free trial. You can log right in and gain instant access. Just connect your Facebook account to Witly, and then you can.
Dude, I'm setting up a free trial.
Yeah, it's free.
I'm tired of running Facebook ads.
Josh, that's your whole job. What are you talking about? No, no, that's awesome. No, I cannot agree more, man. It's like you've been doing training for 8 years. I think the number one killer of all businesses is that they literally buy these systems they never use. They buy training they never do. And it's because it's the common thing. They got into real estate to be real estate agents. They got into finance to be financial advisors. They didn't get into be marketers. It's not their passion and love, and that's where they fail. So I think it's fantastic. I really, really think you're hitting the nail on the head of how you're actually doing it. I think you see that in all marketing. Generate the lead, build the relationship, branding per se, and then go to lead conversion. I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Grant. Hey, we've been asking return guests this question. So normally we say, what would you tell your younger self? We're switching it up. What would you tell Grant pre-COVID, February 2020? What advice would you give that guy?
Man, I was listening to our preacher a couple weeks ago, and he said, if you haven't been exposed to COVID, you've been exposed by COVID. And there have been so many people, I think, that had this light just is just like somebody pulled the shower curtain back, and we figured out how unprepared we were for many things. And I'll be the first to admit it, man, there's so many different things I would have done. I would have done it so much faster. And one of the things that I think that COVID taught me more than anything was that if you can be, so insanely focused on the one thing that it is that you want to accomplish, you'd be amazed how fast you'll actually accomplish it. And I got really good at saying no, man. We went in and immediately tore out, 15 other things that we were thinking about, and just got crystal clear on the number one thing that we wanted to do. And here we are 6 months later and we've done it. And I think, focus is one of the greatest things that you could possibly do. So I think it's just understanding that, like, look, nobody was prepared for what was going to happen. And, when this thing came about, you really figured out how unprepared you were. And, just realize, like, if you could just focus on what really matters, the one thing, not even the 2 or 3 things, just the number one thing that you've got to go out there and accomplish, you want to go out there and accomplish, put everything you have into making it a reality, and you're going to look up one day and it will be. And that's what, we did. We just got rid of everything we didn't want to really do and put all of our attention and energy on the one thing. And, obviously the results of that have been just absolutely incredible. And so if I could go back and talk to Grant a few months ago, I'd be like, hey, bro.
That's awesome, man.
That's great.
What a great answer. Now, super happy for you and for what you've been able to accomplish there with your business. Make sure everybody takes advantage of that special offer by going to witly.net/stay paid. And then before we close out 100% here, Grant, how can people connect with you?
Go to witly.net/stay paid. That would be number one.
All right, I'm gonna plug it for him. His Instagram is @LikeGrantWise. So you can connect with him on Instagram also.
I was gonna say
after you go to the. All right, thanks again for being here, Grant. Thank you so much for listening. To dive deeper into this episode, get those links and check out this video. You can go to staypaidpodcast.com. Like I said, we really appreciate your support of the show. It is completely free. The way you can support is head on over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and tell a friend about the podcast. Our feature review comes from Amb B. Thomas via Apple Podcasts. She says, great podcast, 5 stars. Love the podcast. So many golden nuggets for salespeople and realtors. So thank you, Amb B. Thomas, for sending us that review on iTunes. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com, or you can reach us on Instagram. We are @StayPaidPodcast. For this episode, I'm Josh Stike.
Guys, and I'm Luke Acree. And man, you need to go back and listen to this podcast again, because that is everything you need right there for running a Facebook ad. But I think the action item that all of you should really, really take advantage of, that's a no-brainer, that would give you a step in the right direction, not only in content, but also in implementing these Facebook ads in your business, is you need to record one of those branding videos. One of those 4 branding videos, you need to do it. Some of them are so simple. I mean, talk about the education one. This is what you do every single day. You educate your clients. This applies to any industry. If you're not in real estate, it applies to your industry too. Your personality video. I mean, those are things that you should be able to pump out, no problem. Make it 1 to 3 minutes. Start using it on your Facebook feed, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, and then go check out witly.net/stay paid and use it in your free trial there and start generating leads. Remember this. The difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer in every single industry we've worked in is top producers take action. Take action on that today.